He sat there in first class, staring out the airplane window, his perfectly tailored suit creased by exhaustion, his eyes empty. On paper, he had everything: wealth, fame, and a business empire worth billions. But inside, he was broken. The flight attendants smiled politely. Passengers whispered his name, yet none dared to speak to him. None. Except for a little girl in pigtails who suddenly turned around from the seat in front of him and asked, "Why are you so sad, mister?" That one innocent question shattered every wall he had built around his heart. What happened next made the CEO laugh, then cry, for the first time in years. Before we dive into this powerful, life-changing story, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel, Hopeful Stories. We share real, emotional tales that remind us how kindness and love can still heal even the coldest hearts. Daniel Cross was a man the world admired, the youngest tech CEO in the country, a self-made billionaire whose company revolutionized the digital world. He had everything people dreamed of: power, luxury, and status. Yet none of it filled the emptiness inside him. His success had cost him something priceless: time with his family, laughter, and love. He boarded the flight to New York that morning with a cold stare and an even colder heart. He had just attended his father's funeral, a man he hadn't spoken to in almost a decade. The guilt gnawed at him, but he pushed it down like he always did, drowning his feelings in work and numbers. As he sat in first class, he loosened his tie and stared out the window, lost in thought. The hum of the airplane blended with his racing mind. Memories of arguments, missed calls, and unspoken apologies filled his chest with a quiet ache. He hadn't cried at the funeral. He couldn't. He had forgotten how to feel. Just then, a tiny voice interrupted his storm. "Excuse me, mister." Daniel turned, surprised. Peeking at him through the gap between the seats was a little girl, maybe 6 years old, holding a worn-out teddy bear. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Yes?" he said, trying to sound polite. "Why are you so sad?" she asked innocently. Daniel blinked, caught off guard. "I'm not sad," he lied, forcing a small smile. The girl tilted her head, unconvinced. "But your eyes look sad. My mommy says eyes tell the truth even when mouths don't." He couldn't help but laugh, a short, awkward chuckle that felt strange after so long. "Your mommy sounds very wise," he said. "She's the smartest person ever." The little girl said proudly. "She says people who smile less need more hugs." Daniel felt something sting behind his eyes. "Maybe your mom's right," he said softly. The girl grinned. "Do you want a hug then?" He froze. He didn't know what to say. A CEO worth billions being offered a hug by a 6-year-old mid-flight. It almost seemed absurd. But something about her innocent sincerity broke him. He nodded slowly. The girl reached her tiny arms over the seat and hugged him. It was awkward, clumsy, but warm, painfully warm. For a brief moment, Daniel felt the ice inside his chest melt. He hadn't felt human connection like that in years. When the girl sat back down, she started chatting happily about her teddy bear, her school, and her dream to become a helper who makes sad people smile. Daniel listened quietly, smiling genuinely for the first time in months. Later, when the flight attendant came by, Daniel learned the girl's name was Lily. She was traveling with her mother to New York for medical treatment. "She's been very brave," her mother said softly. Her eyes tired but hopeful. As the plane continued through the clouds, Daniel couldn't stop thinking about Lily's words. People who smile less need more hugs. He thought about his father, about how they had stopped hugging years ago, about how he'd chosen meetings over moments, profits over people. For the rest of the flight, Lily kept turning around to show him drawings she made on napkins, one of a big house, one of a man smiling beside a son. She said, "That's you, Mr. Sad Eyes, you look happier now." Daniel laughed. "Maybe I am." But when the plane landed, something unexpected happened. As passengers began leaving, Daniel looked for Lily, but her mother was holding her tightly, whispering words that made his heart stop. Lily was weak, her face pale. The flight crew called for medical help. Daniel stood frozen as the paramedics arrived, watching as they carried Lily and her mother off the plane. Before she disappeared from sight, Lily looked at him and whispered, "Don't be sad anymore, okay?" He nodded, his throat tight, and for the first time in years, he cried. Weeks passed, but Daniel couldn't shake the memory of that little girl. He kept thinking about her smile, her words, her hug. Every time he looked in the mirror, he saw the same tired man, only now there was something different behind his eyes. A spark of something real. One morning, unable to resist, he called the airline and asked if they could help him find Lily's family. It took days, but finally, someone gave him a name in a hospital in New York. He went there quietly, without cameras or bodyguards, just a man in a simple jacket carrying a small teddy bear. A gift for a girl who had unknowingly changed his life. When he reached the children's wing, he saw Lily's mother sitting outside a hospital room. Her eyes widened when she recognized him. "You're the man from the plane," she said softly. Daniel nodded. "How's she doing?" Her mother smiled weakly. "She's strong. The doctors say she'll need time, but she's a fighter." He exhaled, relieved. "I'm glad." Then Lily's voice came from inside the room. "Mommy, is that Mr. Sad Eyes?" Daniel couldn't help but laugh through the tears. He stepped inside, and there she was, pale, but smiling as brightly as ever. "You came," she said, holding her teddy bear tightly. "I told you I would," Daniel said gently, handing her the new bear. "His name's Max. He's here to keep you company." Lily giggled. "Now I have 2 helpers." He sat beside her bed, talking and laughing for hours. She told him about her dreams of opening a happy place for sick kids, a space filled with toys, stories, and music. Daniel listened, inspired by her hope. When he left that day, he made a decision that would change countless lives. He used his resources to open a foundation, Lily's Place. It was a center that provided care, playrooms, and scholarships for children battling illness. He poured not just money, but his heart into it. For the first time, his wealth meant something. Months later, Lily recovered enough to attend the opening of Lily's Place. As she cut the ribbon, she looked up at Daniel and said, "See? You're not Mr. Sad Eyes anymore." Daniel smiled, tears streaming down his face. "No," he said softly. "Thanks to you, I'm not." That day, surrounded by children's laughter, Daniel finally understood what true success meant, not in numbers or shares, but in moments of love and connection. Years later, people still spoke about the CEO who changed his life because of a child's question. But whenever reporters asked him what the secret was, he'd simply say, "It started with a little girl who saw sadness where no one else did," and reminded me that kindness can heal even the deepest wounds. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel, Hopeful Stories. Every like and subscription helps us continue sharing stories that remind the world of the power of love, hope, and humanity. Because sometimes, the smallest voices speak the biggest truths.